You're listening to Warrior Talk with Heather Thomas Van Deren and Brant Fricker. Get inspired. Be empowered. Warrior Talk.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to another stellar Warrior Talk. Get inspired and be empowered. I'm Heather Thomas Van Deren, in case you didn't know, and I'm here with my illustrious co-host,
Oh,
Brant Fricker.
I feel extra illustrious today.
There you go, as you should. Listen we have a series called Women Warriors, and we do this periodically. And the way that we do this is that I have my little radar going, and when I come across a woman of faith that is a true warrior, then I hope and pray that she'll join us, and I ask her to come on to Warrior Talk. Today, we have Lady Megan Neal from where did you say you were from again?
Graham,
Jo-
Alabama.
Alabama. I
Graham,
keep
Alabama.
wanting to think Graham. See, we have a Graham, Texas, but I keep thinking that you're from
Mhm.
Georgia, but you're not. You're still Southern,
Georgia.
that's for sure.
Well, I'm not from Georgia. My husband is. He grew up in Bowden, Georgia. I'm a military kid. I grew up all
Yeah,
over the East Coast, but I call home Richlands, North Carolina.
I see. Okay. So yes, Megan and Morgan Neal, they are Christian country artists and they travel all over the place. You guys look them up. Um, it's really funny, Megan, because you and we just connected
I
immediately.
know.
We were both last summer. We were at the ICGMA, which is the International Country Gospel Music Association. And Megan and we didn't hardly even talk to each other, but yet our spirits connected and we were
They
like
really
best
did.
buds without even getting to know each other. It's crazy the
Mhm.
way that happens. That's just God. That's,
Automatic
It
that's
is.
connection there. We know what that's like, don't we?
It
There.
was. It was.
yes, I
It was cool.
absolutely that's how it happened for Brant and I. And here's Warrior Talk 3 years later. And God hand selects the things that He wants to
Mhm.
happen in His world, in His ministry, in His realm, so that we can bring all the glory to Him. Megan, I know that you've been through a bunch of stuff,
Yes.
and we were talking about that. Actually, um, we've all three of us, been through a bunch of stuff when it comes to this topic. And uh, you know, some people don't like speaking about abuse
No, they don't.
because, yeah, it brings, sometimes it dredges up hurtful memories and things like that. But I think it's important that we talk about it. We all three have relationships that have gone south on us, and it's not just relationships, Megan. It's
Yeah.
so much more than that. So you've written a book about it, and we want to talk about the
Mhm.
book. But first, tell
Yeah.
us who Megan Neal is today.
Yeah, well, I am. Who am I? I'm a survivor. I am just a happy go lucky woman who has ripped herself out of the trenches. And, I've made some really bad choices in my life. And um, because of that, I mean, that's always our story, isn't it? Like, that's our testimony. Where did God
Yes,
find us? And
right.
because of bad choices and vulnerability and being too trusting in relationships, that got me in some sticky situations. And there was one time I felt like a shell of myself, but no longer, no more.
Amen.
I am strong. I have come to the top. I have survived, and now it's time to help other women. So who am I? I'm somebody that wants to help other people and let other women know that they're not alone.
And
And
you're happily married to the love of your life.
yes. Oh, he's the love of my life. Oh man. And every time when people get to know us, they will come up to me and say, he's a keeper. I, it
Oh,
makes
yeah.
me want to cry. I've never been loved like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, it's
that's wonderful.
it's incredible.
Just,
It makes me
just hang.
speechless.
No, I was just going to say, just
Yeah,
hang in there, Brant, because we got to get all of this mushy stuff out of the way first.
the
All the
mushy
mushy
stuff,
stuff.
because that's our story. That's our
Yeah.
story. It's Jesus saved both of us, you know, and I can't wait for y'all to get to know him. Um, we heal together.
That's good.
We heal together, and there's just really no words for it. He's a man of God. He is completely anointed. He knows how to just reach people. And so when it comes to me, we work so well together because our mission is to help others.
There you go.
And that's really about it. I mean, it's that simple. We're very simple people, and that's, what you see is what you get. We always have a
Mm,
smile on our face. When one of us
yep.
is feeling low, the other's there to lift the other up because life happens.
Good.
Hmm.
That's, and there's God completely in our relationship.
You know,
100%.
I love that so much. I miss my husband so much because he was a mirror of that. And he was the love of my life. But I love you so much, Megan, because you are a mirror of me. You're not a bit shy. You're strong-willed. Sometimes that gets us in trouble, but now that we're living
Yes.
for the Lord, it
Mm-hmm.
helps. And Brant's not
Mm-hmm.
strong-willed at all. It's just,
Not at all. Of course not.
no, not at all. But we are. We are our warriors. We are true warriors. A warrior is not afraid to speak out, to show up,
Mm-hmm.
to show out,
Mm-hmm.
and to be black and white in our approach of the gospel, and to understand that, time is short, and man, we have got to be about his business.
Yep.
And it comes in different forms and shapes. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing about abuse is abuse comes in different forms and shapes
Many.
as well. And I know that, it can come in forms of people that are jealous of you and try to tear you down
Mhm.
to
Yes.
make themselves feel better. That's abuse.
Yep.
uh, and it's not just marriage, it's not just male female relationships, it's in life. There are people everywhere. There are people that take advantage of you, are there not, Brant?
All
Yes.
the time. People, and we've said it so many times, through the last several years. There's people who love people and use things, and people who love things and use
And
people.
use
And
people.
and we love people
Mm-hmm.
and use things. But yeah, you're right, Heather. This is not a time. Oh, I think I'll get around to. No, 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 no. God, there's an old song, Heaven is counting on you. And you were born for this season, for a reason. And so,
Mm-hmm.
to whom much is given, being born in the richest country in the world that still
Mm-hmm.
has freedom, even though the demoniacs from the inside want to take it away, you
Already.
know,
Mhm.
much is given, much is expected. So we're really
Amen.
happy to be locking shields with warriors who are waking up to this fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And we got to spread it, man. We have got to do everything that we can spread it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Megan, your book has a very unique title. Tell us the title
It
of your
does.
book.
When I forgot how to scramble eggs. Um, Eggs are fragile. They, I was it's a broad spectrum. I was a shell of myself.
Mhm.
I forgot how to scramble eggs. I mean, it was for real. I was such a shell of myself. I didn't know how to make a lucid decision. I became
Mm.
so indecisive that I depended on everybody else to make the choice for me. And because I'd been broken down, my abuser would take me out into the garage and have these discussions. And it was always, we've already discussed this, and I told you, And it was like, you know, like they were just trying to mold me into what they thought that I needed to be, which was basically their puppet. And so in that situation, I literally one morning was making breakfast and I stared at the yolk, and what seemed like a couple minutes was probably realistically 15 to 30 seconds, but I stared at it and I had no clue what to do.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
poked at it and my
your
brain
brain
shut
just shut
off.
off. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then I thought about it for a couple days, and there was this, and this is where Jesus met me a couple days later. This was bringing me back from the backslidden, saved again. And Jesus was there. I heard him. It was the most incredible moment. And he said, "Daughter, did you forget who you are? Did you forget how powerful you are?" I mean, I was always this vivacious being. My parents did not raise me to be like this. And
Mm-hmm.
my parents actually had offered to help me get out of this relationship several times, but I follow. And also, to go with it, forgetting how to scramble eggs, Morgan and I actually sit every morning and have eggs for breakfast. And I thought of that too, the healing of coffee and eggs and discussing life
Mm-hmm.
and growing together and praying that what he called bucket of slop that we ended up in, that we were both hollow shell-like creatures that let somebody take over. And so the moment that I forgot to scramble eggs, but you know, the full circle of he and I have breakfast every morning and heal and pray and
It's very cool.
talk about how we're going to grow together. Those goals, you know,
That's
everybody's like,
awesome.
"What's your 5-year goal?" You know, yeah. So
You can't
like
beat
that.
that. You know, when you take a posture with your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back to back, you know, you and me against the world, baby, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing's impossible for you two. And the enemy
Mm.
hates that kind of unity and cohesion for a reason.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's wonderful that you can have it. It can start as simple as that.
It is, and that's the thing with people, is they try to make things so difficult, and it's not.
Right.
Jesus is there. Jesus saved us. Jesus holds this relationship together so we can go out and tell our stories and bring people that feel so alone to the one and
Yeah.
only Savior. That's how
You,
simple that is. You don't have to make that complex.
well, you said that that's step number one. I don't know if that's in your book or just in your mindset. Step number one is recognizing that there's a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
and we did. Mm-hmm.
you have to admit that there's a problem, and then you have to find the strength that you need to get out of it. Let me tell a really quick story. When
Yeah.
I was a young married, I lived in a small town suburb, and there was this lady that lived down the road from me, and she was abused by her husband. She had 3 young children, and they had the windows open half the time, and whenever I was outside, I could hear him just, I can't even repeat the stuff he was saying. It's the worst of the worst as far as cursing and just condemnation. And I felt so bad for her. And I reached out to her and I told her one day, she was a Christian. And I said, "This is not God's will for your life.
Mhm.
You can escape this. You are unequally yoked." And she says, "Yeah, I know. I need to find a way to get out." And I said, "Look, there isn't a way to get out. You just get out."
Mhm.
Because see,
Mhm.
I had been through that. You
Yep.
just go. It's
Right.
you don't worry about details, just go.
Right.
So I offered to give her my garage to start stacking boxes because for some reason she wanted to start boxing things up so that she would have something for
Mhm.
wherever she landed, right?
Mhm.
And with her boys. And so, I mean, the boxes got taller and taller and taller. And then one day she called me and she said, I just remembered there's something in one of those boxes that I need to get. Can I come down and get? And she started taking stuff out of the box and going back home. And then the next day, there's something else. And she just one by one, she brought her little wagon and she started taking all of her boxes back home. And I knew what was happening. It
Mm,
broke my heart. You
yeah.
know, you can't do that because
Mm,
God gives us such supernatural strength to see things through if we will just stay focused on him, right, Megan?
absolutely. Yeah. I'm similar to her, but I didn't take anything back. I was blessed being a teacher with a really big classroom and good storage. And
That's
so I started taking things little by little from home. Oh, I need to take this pillow because my kids like it. They'll love it. It'd be nice for the soft seating. Oh, I'm going to take this blanket because
Mm.
whenever we have a movie, this certain student gets cold, and I was little by little. And granted, yeah, there were some things I didn't take, but my life was more important than that thing. So when I knew that I had enough to start over, everything else it didn't matter anymore. And I know a
right.
lot of those things had memories, but I'd rather have me than that thing. And there were
Right.
people that didn't understand. That's the thing. You're going to still have the naysayers that,
Hmm.
why didn't you have a better plan? Don't you miss those things? And I'm like, well, I can't take them with me to heaven. We don't get to take a U-Haul behind us.
That's right.
A thing is a thing, but a human life is precious. So I applaud her for taking that courage to start. I wish
Yeah.
I would know the outcome that maybe she still got out.
I don't know. I don't know because it was not long after that I left Keller, and so I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to her. I wasn't real close to her,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many stories like that. Brant, tell us from the man's point of view of abuse because it happens both ways. It's not
Uh,
it it is yeah, it is not just men abusing women, you know,
no, no, it's not. It just guys
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about it.
that's it.
Guys don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are men who are either hit back and abuse back. There are
Mm,
men who just sink and into nothing and are whittled down and kills their soul. Or there's men who get out.
right.
I was raised never to hit a woman. I never have. But you don't let one beat you up either.
That's
And
right.
I loved I'm about to tell you something revolutionary, folks. I don't know if I've ever said this on this show in 3 years. I loved my high school sweetheart, and she had some issues, so did I. But right before our wedding, she clocked me on the side of the face, um, shortly before our wedding. And whoa, what? What? She didn't do that whole time. And she became so angry and aggressive. I can handle a dude just fine. I got good training handling men. But with a
Mm-hmm.
woman, I called off my wedding and she threatened to kill herself.
Mm,
I went through with it.
that's right.
And for 17 years, every other day, she hated me. Every other day, she talked in a lower voice. She looked different, acted different,
Mm,
and sabotaged ministry, abused, terrorized her family. And I had this delusional. I was already in ministry. I was a child piano prodigy and started ministry when I was 13. So I was already on television and on the radio and all that when I was 19. And so uh, uh, I had this misguided notion that I better endure this or I'll hurt all the people that I minister to.
mm,
Well, I found out, that when it was time, I had pastors coming to me and saying, look, we don't believe in pastors, two of them. We don't believe in divorce, but if you don't make a change, you're going to wake up with a knife in you, or you're finally going to hit her back. And guess what? Now you're the abuser.
Right.
The cop
yeah.
can show up and you can have a knife in your ribs, but you're the one who goes to jail because you're the man.
Right.
So all that to say is I learned about the cycle of abuse that we're going to touch on a little later. And I also
Yes.
learned that, you know what? Um, nobody is to be subjected to abuse.
Right.
And if you think that you're going to, you know, demoralize the world, well, here the most freeing thing and the most harmful or hurtful thing in the beginning to hear is also the most liberating thing. Nobody cares. They're trying to figure out their own life. And so, yeah, they will care about you, but you want to go and vent. No. They don't care. Not one person called me in
Mhm.
17 years since that 17 years. Okay. But it was freeing because you know what? That taught me to love God and trust God, but to love people. Don't trust people and keep your
No,
circle small. And
very.
so, and do what you need to do for your children. But only when I came to the point where the only way to have peace and not madness for my children was to go create that place of peace. Sometimes you can't create that place of peace with who you're with.
Mhm.
And so all that to say is, there's a long line of pastors who've told women and men, but especially women, to stick in there. And there's a whole wake of dead bodies behind them because that's not scriptural.
Mm-mm.
We're to be equally yoked, going in the same direction and loving one
Mhm.
another. And
Yep,
otherwise, you're not a believer if you don't have the love of Jesus in you and you
Right.
that's right.
abuse women or men or children.
Right.
That is right. Second
And I'm
Corinthians.
very happy, by the way. I've got an incredible, amazing wife. Heaven
Yes,
on
you do.
people say, "Hey,
Yes,
how
you
you doing?" I'm in heaven. She doesn't bite, scratch, punch,
do.
kick. I'm serious. I'm not lying. Sabotage,
I know.
Yep.
sabotage ministries. Lie,
Right.
terrorize her children, parental alienation. I had to go through that, but she doesn't
Yes.
do that. So there is hope. There is hope, and God can
There.
can heal
Mhm.
a marriage too. But there
That's
are
true.
certain scenarios
Oh yeah.
that won't change. You have to change.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. And you're equally
Mm-hmm.
yoked. I mean, Second Corinthians 6:14
Yeah.
says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness?" You know, gosh, can we fellowship with the dark when we're living in the light? Light dispels dark. Dark does not shine, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an indication of their spiritual. It
Mm-hmm.
does. It's not just marriages, guys. It's relationships in business, it's relationships in friendships, it's relationships all
Mm-hmm.
the way across the board. And remember this because,
Mm-hmm.
Megan, we were talking about some scripture, and I love this one. I don't know if you came up with it or I did. I think we both came up with it at the same time. Joshua 1:9. It says, "Have I not commanded
Uh-huh.
you? Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." That's the key to success. Megan, so
Mm-hmm.
what would you
Yep.
say to someone that is in that situation? I guarantee you, Christian or non-Christian, there's somebody watching our show today that is bound in despair because they are unequally yoked with a
Right.
spouse that is abusive.
Right.
What would you say to them?
Well, number one, the first part, recognize the problem. Number two is you got to, even though the plan may not be perfect, but when I say that our lives are important, they need to find a way, a friend, somewhere to go. Now, granted, I ran far, and I actually stayed in a hotel secretively for a month.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
just find somebody. And I mean, I ran into the hotel, and the manager was, and I was probably frazzled, but if you can just find somebody to say, okay, I need sanctuary, I need to stay until I can figure it out. And that manager just swept up and signed me in under her and said, okay, I'm going to put you here. And it was wonderful. And I'm not saying that's what someone's going to find, but they find a church. God is there when he says, "I am with you wherever you will go." He is right. Stop thinking that what's talking to you is your conscience, because that's the
Mhm.
Holy Spirit. Your
Amen.
body is in your mind, and the Lord being with you always, and Jesus being alive in you, he's not going to fail you. He's going to guide you. So go into a church. There's somebody there. Find someone. Somebody's in I know that there's ladies out there that feel so alone, that
Mhm.
they have convinced themselves there's no one. And yes, don't trust people. Keep your circle small. But I
Yeah.
can guarantee there is somebody out there, and Jesus is going to
Mhm.
guide you to that
Right.
person.
Right.
God told me that he was there the whole time.
Mhm.
The whole time. And there was times that he saved me when I should not be here anymore. And,
You know,
and
that just it reminds me of David hiding
yeah.
out in the caves. I mean, sometimes God takes you and he isolates you to protect you and to
Mhm.
prepare you for the things that he's calling you out to. Because if you don't seek isolation with him and you just throw yourself into the path of somebody else that you hope will be your answer, a lot of times you'll find yourself just getting right
Oh
back
yeah.
into the same
Same
old mud that you
patterns.
came
Yep.
out of.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
And
It happened.
and I have a friend now, my Morgan and I both do, and we pray for this individual a lot. And they're not in the best of circumstance. And we've given advice. And I just keep telling them, pray, and Jesus is with you. Yes, we have given advice, and the advice that we can only give because we've been there. You never know how hot that fire is until you've actually experienced it.
True.
So he is experiencing it. This is a male, but he's not recognizing. He hasn't gotten to step one yet, recognizing there's a problem.
Right.
Like, he
Denial.
knows there's a problem. I know he knows there's a problem, or he wouldn't call us to seek the advice or to vent. So now it's just, what do we do to guide him? And that we are going to be like Jesus. We are not going to give up on him.
Right.
He calls, we're going to be that ear, because we know there's people out there that are like, oh, well, it's so and so again. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But if I'm going to give the advice to find the person to go to give the advice, to give that sanctuary when they're ready, then I mean that's what we're here for.
Mm.
So I'm
You
going
know
to
that?
say, man or woman, we're here.
And
Yeah.
can I say something to that too? Pastors,
Yeah.
you are obligated by law to report abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You're held accountable if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I know that one of you were going to touch on, you know, children that were slaughtered days ago. And I'm curious,
Mm-hmm.
was there a
Mm.
pastor that said, "Oh no, just pray about it"?
Yeah.
Well, pray about it, but use common sense. If you're going through abuse, chances are you were whittled down and worn down so much that you don't know which way is up.
Mm-hmm.
No shame, no blame, but for the sake of your children, you got to make sure they're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
My boys were part of my abuse. And I'll tell you what, when you want to take the road less traveled and you let somebody abuse your kids, I felt like the low of low.
Hmm.
Because later you start going, what could have I done?
Yeah.
What was something I could have done? And thank the Lord that the three of us are healing, even though they're grown and they have their own, they have their own trauma.
Yeah.
And it took a lot to sit there and say, I'm sorry, and that they actually believed me.
Mm.
But when you are in those trenches, you're going to do whatever brings the least amount of confrontation. And now they understand what mom was like because she was pretty much in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
They get it now. But yeah,
Yeah.
those poor kids, you taught that tore me up for days. To know that those babies, that mom could have got out.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
it breaks
important thing
my
is,
heart.
is that the important thing is that you did.
That you did.
You know. Hmm.
It's a
Mhm.
little tougher
And
when you're a father.
yeah.
The system rewards. parental alienation.
They
And
do.
and
They do.
on top of that, 3 different DHS cases investigating other children abuse inside that same home. But oh no,
Mhm.
no, it's okay. It's okay if
Yeah.
she's a woman. So, and hey, if you watch me at all, you know how much I promote and love women and help launch
Mhm.
ministries for in businesses with women for women. But I'll tell you, the system is not for you men, you brothers, if you're going through this. But the point is that you got out though. You know, I,
Yes.
Right.
it
Yes.
took me 10 years until I finally said, that's it. 10
Yeah.
years. 10 years. It was over for 10 years. I finally said,
Mhm.
that's it. And it was a wake
Mhm.
up call. It was a big wake up call. And I
Mhm.
wasn't able to get my children out. And I fought for 17 years. And now,
I
yeah.
wish I wish I would have taken the boy's daddy because he had nothing to do with the abuse. He's a great father.
Oh, good, good.
He's a veteran. He was a pilot. He's an outstanding person. The reason why that marriage failed is because we were immature.
Okay.
That was it. We got married really young. We were immature, but I stand by that he was always a great father.
Hmm.
Even in my cloudy days, I knew, even when I was brainwashed, my soul knew. I probably said things I didn't mean just to
Hmm.
do for whatever reason, but I really
Mm.
wish that he and I had just sat down and that I had let the boys go with him. Um, and because the courts, like you said, the system fails.
Yeah.
They're like, well,
Yeah.
you're the mother, you're the mom, and yeah, and I can't wish anymore. I can't pray about it anymore because it already happened. It was meant to happen. God already knew.
Hmm.
But that there is that little part of me that thinks, well, what if you did? Because the boys would be more like mentally sound. Their stepmother is wonderful, smart lady. Their dad is incredible. Um, and
Good.
we're at a good point in our life now.
Praise
But
God.
praise God for that.
Right.
But
You
So
know
kids
that.
kids are resilient, and it doesn't matter how you start the race. It matters how you finish.
right,
And you're
right.
you're
That's it.
finishing the race well.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And that's what we should all strive to do. Remember, God is the God of liberation. He is freedom. Satan binds. And Satan, what he does is attacks the nuclear family because he knows that that's where he can destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you enter into a relationship, and this is for those of you that have not, or maybe you've already gone past another relationship and you're contemplating a new one,
Right.
seek out friends, family, people, loved ones, dates, whatever, that possess the character of God. That should be
Right.
your number one requisite
Yes.
when our prerequisite when you are entering into any type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Seek the characters of God. Look at the fruit of the spirit.
Amen.
He gave us that. Galatians, what, 5:22-23. He gave that to us as a barometer to know who his characters are. The
Mm-hmm.
character of God is within the fruit of the spirit. And so,
Good.
Amen.
don't settle. Do
Yeah,
not
never settle.
settle. I'm learning
Mhm.
this, being alone sometimes is a good thing.
It is. It is. And
Yeah.
I will say before I ever even thought about dating again, I had to learn to not only love myself again, that was the
Yeah,
big thing, but also grow my faith and make it even stronger and also learn to like being in my own company.
there you go.
I'm an only
That's
child. I always sought out big families. I always wanted to be around people. And I never liked being alone for a lot of my young life. But before Morgan, Megan had to learn who Megan was as an individual. Because even though he and I are definitely equally yoked, we are a unit, we go out and we spread the word of Jesus, we're still individuals. We still
true.
have our own little personalities. And so Megan's still got to be comfortable in her own. Because when I was married to a Marine, Marines go away. I didn't like that
Yeah.
solitude.
Hmm.
I didn't like it. I made a very amazing Marine Corps daughter, but I was not good as a wife. And so because I couldn't be alone. But now it's one of the best things in the world because you know who you are. And then you're really not alone. You got Jesus with you.
Right.
So
You
if
know,
I need to talk to somebody, well, there you are. Talk to him like he's your buddy.
Mhm.
that's right.
He
And we
saves
know
you.
what we should do. Okay. So let's do it. Get inspired, be empowered.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Warrior Talk is for. This woman, Megan,
It is.
you are a warrior, and I love you so much that you're talking about
Thank
this.
you.
Brant, I love that you stand as a man
Yes.
and talks about it. But I know that we're almost
Mm-hmm.
out of time, Brant, but I wanted to
Yes.
just, and I'm gonna let you do this. I wanted somebody, one of us, to address abusers. If we could say something to people that are currently abusing someone else, I don't care what the relationship is, what would you
Mm-hmm.
tell them, Brant? Be kind.
There's the leather and lace part, right?
I know. But really,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them? I mean, really,
Yeah.
for
Well,
think,
number one, I would say this. Um, Sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the way you feel around somebody is how they feel about themselves. And if you
yeah,
find yourself in a pattern of abuse, number one, you need to stop the world and own your stuff and say, hey, you know, I have been behaving badly, or
yeah,
I have been acting badly and responding badly as well. Now, a narcissist will say, I'm only responding to you. I'm only doing this because you forced me to.
yeah,
I only act. Well, no. I don't think that narcissists can be cured.
mm,
I think they need to be alone,
Mm-hmm.
or they need to face that's what they are, and it's just
yeah,
better that they behave. If you're missing the empathy chip, and narcissists miss the empathy chip. That's
yeah,
why every serial killer is a narcissist. They're
hmm,
missing
Yes.
the empathy chip. They're a psychopath, and and, uh,
right,
and there's reasons why people take on that. Some with some it's abandonment. With some it's or a feeling of abandonment. Some are trying to prove themselves to someone they lost. Some are just evil. But if you find
hmm,
yourself, if the fruits of your behavior are whittling away at your loved ones, and you're the problem, then you need to actively get help. You need to cease the activities. You need to literally
Mm-hmm.
write down what you need to be. You know what I mean?
mm,
You
Mm-hmm.
need to
that's good.
reset. You need to reset. Understand the power of your words. Most men in America, they don't have a sense of a rite of passage. It changes men's lives when I tell them you're to provide like a king. That's not just money. That's provision. You're to look out for your family. If you're a narcissist, you're looking out for yourself. You are
Yes.
to protect like a warrior. Sometimes that's protecting them from you.
Mm,
If you need to go hit a punching bag, or you need to take a drive, do it. Your wife's not your punching bag or your kids.
amen.
You need
Amen.
to lead like a leader. Be willing to do everything you're telling the family to do. You don't bark orders from your recliner. You see
Right.
something that needs to be done, you do it. Trash needs to be taken out, you
Right.
do it. You don't
Right.
build resentment there. And then love like a lover. Hey, you know what? Love changes over time. There's passion, but love also matures, and understand that. Love is what you do when no one's around. Love is what you do when you don't feel like it. Love is what you do
Hmm.
when what I mean, when you're, and then also understand that whether you're dealing with a child or an adult, and there's some behavior, they're either angry, tired, lonely, sad, or hungry. Ask yourself, what's going on with me?
Hmm.
Maybe you need to get help. A narcissist will make sure that everyone else is on medication but you, and there's still
Yeah.
a problem. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And or you think, well, I'll just get another person that will. Well, you change the clothes, the stink still dead.
Yeah.
You got to dress yourself, So all that to say is, when Jesus said, look at the plank in your own eye,
Mhm.
before you address the speck in your brother's eye, you need to
Mhm.
stop the world. You need to face what's going on. You need to own your stuff. You need to apologize, and then you need to get help and change your behavior, or your scenario will be changed for you.
Mm.
That's a
And
start.
make sure that, yeah, it's a great start. And make sure that you
Yeah.
make Christ the center of your life,
That's right.
the
Yes.
center of your marriage, because that He will heal it all.
Yeah.
He
He'll
will.
heal it all, guys. Every stinking
Oh,
little part.
I
He'll
know, I
heal it.
agree.
That's right. Megan,
Mm-hmm.
Lord bless you,
Yeah.
girl. I mean, we could do this
Thank you.
forever, but
Great show.
yeah,
Oh,
it's been a good show and we love you.
it has.
And
Thank you. I love you.
I know we'll have you back on later and we'll bring Morgan on with you and we'll have another great warrior talk. So thank you, sister.
Mm, thank
Thank
you,
you so
sister.
much.
It's
We
nice
love
meeting you.
Thank
It was
you.
nice meeting you. Yeah,
Yes,
and we love
Warrior
you
Brand.
guys out there. We'll see you on the next Warrior Talk.
Yes. Thanks.
All right. We're all